Welcome, my friends. Hello, how is everybody doing? Hope y'all are doing well. Welcome to another video, History by Wolf. Uh, I'm Wolf, and this is my channel. I'm very passionate about history, and um, I really love it, But I love to learn. I love to explore, um, all things history. But recently, I've come across I've come across a theory um, that's been spreading around the internet, and I'm sure some of you have seen it. I made a couple of videos already dealing with this subject, and the subject is that of Winston Churchill being the main villain, the chief villain of World War II. Now, I made a couple of videos. One of them I reacted to a channel that I deeply admire about logging through history. I reacted to him reacting to Daryl Cooper, who was on Tucker Carlson speaking on this subject. Um, and so that's kind of the first place I actually heard of it was the Tucker Carlson podcast with the guest Daryl Cooper. But yeah, blogging through history reacted to it, and I chose to react to his reaction. He was very emotional about it, understandably so. It turns out this is a very emotional topic for many historians. Um, so I reacted to that. My second video, I sat down, and I was further elaborating on the reason why I disagree with this theory. In this video, I was emotional. I want you guys to understand as this channel kicks off, I want this channel to be fun, and I tend to look at things from a comedic lens when I talk about history because I want to make it fun, and I do find the kind of the fun elements of history. I have an interesting sense of humor, I guess you could say. If any of you have seen my TikTok videos, which, but yeah, it's all about kind of making it fun. Usually I'm lighthearted, trying to, for the most part, keep things fun, when it's appropriate. This particular subject, though, it kind of strikes a nerve, and admittedly, I was maybe, in this case, probably too emotional, probably too wry with my response. So I spent the day kind of thinking about things, formulating things in my head. And so I had some, points that just kind of keep me on track with what I'm talking about. But basically, look, and like I said, I've been exposed to this theory in the past few weeks. I'm not an expert historian. I'm just very passionate about history, well read on history, specifically military history, and specifically World War I through World War II era military history. I've read, countless books, countless documentaries. I've written papers for school. I've taken classes about World War I and II. But I'm not an expert. But this theory, in particular, that I come across is, like I've tried to I hear them out, and logically, I'm like, okay, I can see where they're coming from, and I can see why they would think Churchill is a villain. Definitely, Churchill is a flawed and very complicated individual. There's no question about it. But the problem is the premise of this theory in it of itself is flawed in nature because of some of the things I have pointed out in past videos. The chief amongst them is the fact that Churchill was not in government when the events that led to World War II occurred. He wasn't even in a decision making position, and really not even in a position to influence the policies that were enacted that led to Adolf achieving what he achieved that led up to World War II. So you cannot and this is what part of what this theory is trying to do. It's not just trying to villain and make him the chief villain. They're trying to also blame the war on Churchill and also blame the war getting worse on Churchill. So blaming the war on Churchill, like I said, is flawed. Flat out, to be blunt, does not really make sense. Like I said, cannot blame him. He wasn't in power. Um, they by the time Churchill was in power, it was very clear. It's very clear from all the documentary evidence, from first-hand accounts, Hitler had no intention of stopping um, until he achieved his aims, and his aims was to basically create a world that wasn't going to be kind to the majority of individuals, to a lot of individuals, I should say, that were in the crosshairs of his military machine. So the fact that he was suing for peace, really trying to bide himself time, um, thought that he could, get peace from Britain. Um, he said himself that he, saw them as quote unquote equals, but he also had plans to subjugate their population, um, and want, like he did in Europe, round up everybody who he deemed to be inferior, and also political threats, and basically have them done away with. Um, so for me, it's like, would Churchill? Why would Churchill want to make peace with someone who has those plans? Um, if you want to make an argument that he should have just went ahead and made peace and saw what happened, I can't stop you. The whole thing about this theory, though, is, let's just get into it, man, because this theory, you find out, is tinged with nothing short of it's of hatred, a lot of anti-Semitic views, that I will not support. Um, I won't, and it's dangerous to entertain these views. I believe a lot of deniers of the Nazi crimes, have um, are the ones that are linked to these theories. Um, and these deniers, they use that as their reasoning. The Jewish world conspiracy, and how Churchill was in the pocket of these financiers, and all this. The problem is that I spent the time scouring the internet. Like I said, I came across a historian named David Irving, who is one of the chief deniers of the Holocaust, and he has this reasoning. I found his reasoning, though, or I found some of the bases of his theory. I found flaws in that, to me, punch holes in it that are irreparable. The fact that the some of the data that he collected, or by the person that collected some of the data, that led him to believe that there was no gas chambers at Auschwitz. Turns out it was a flawed method of collecting data, and he chooses to ignore this, but also he even acknowledges that it's flawed, but yeah, and still he pushes his agenda, he pushes his theory. I find that deeply disturbing. Furthermore, he admits, in not so many words, that he is quote unquote, yeah, racist, which that might be a strong term, but it's kind of, he kind of admits that he has an aversion to different cultures and whatnot, whatever that means to you. So to me, that in and of itself, just to me, it doesn't completely, that doesn't completely discredit him, but it just makes it, for me, makes, when you peel back the layers and get to it, it just makes it to a point where I can't go with that narrative. That's one part of it. The other part of it is that there is an overwhelming mountain of evidence, first-hand evidence, which for historians is literally the holy grail of historical research, is first-hand accounts. Obviously, not, not all first-hand accounts are infallible. I mean, um, sometimes you got to remember, even first-hand accounts have bias and stuff. But for the most part, first-hand accounts are invaluable. There's an overwhelming just mountain of first-hand accounts from not only victims, not only survivors, but from the perpetrators of these crimes as well. And to ignore that, to me, is just irresponsible at best. At best, it's irresponsible as a historian or someone who's analyzing this theory. Because if you're not going to believe the people who were there, the people who were victims of these crimes, and also the people who perpetrated these crimes, then who are you going to believe? Are you really going to believe someone who comes along after the fact and imposes their own worldviews, their own biases, their own conspiracies onto the subject, and then comes up with a theory that's completely contrary to um, what the evidence shows us? It so it gets to the point where I thought about all this, and the thing about the time we're living in is we're full of people who are contrarians, people who play devil's advocate just to play devil's advocate, people who um, are experts but not really experts. Uh, and everyone has a platform to, including myself, to speak their mind and to put out their opinions. Now, the problem is people putting out their opinions like their opinion is fact, ignoring all the evidence, ignoring everything that would suggest that their opinion could be false, could be wrong, and they just say, no, I'm right, you're stupid, and everyone, including the people who I agree with, that agree with me that Churchill isn't the chief villain, that believe that, of course, Adolf is the chief villain. Even them, even they get to a point where they're just trying to flex their intellect and make someone look stupid. So, with that being said, I have tried to remove every ounce of emotion that this topic uh, sparks in me, and it's tough. But I think what I ultimately landed on is just the fact that, like I said, the evidence, the firsthand evidence that these crimes were committed, that this war was in fact planned and carried out first and foremost by the German dictator, cannot will not allow me to call Churchill the chief villain when he wasn't in power, when the war began, and to say that he worsened the war also is, to me, false, when the fact that of the matter is the war got infinitely worse when the German dictator decided to invade into the east, into Russia, where the death total, the amount of people that died, civilians and soldiers, is it makes what happened in the West look like almost like nothing in comparison. And that was Adolf's plan, not Churchill's plan. Did the British engage in firebombing campaigns of civilian targets? They did. Did they commit their own set of war crimes? They did. It's a little bit of the victors judging the vanquished when you get to the Nuremberg trials. It is. But at the same time, nobody would have been there in those positions if it wasn't for people who are not named Winston Churchill making decisions and carrying out orders and all everything attached to it. Okay, people wouldn't have been in those positions if it wasn't for chief amongst everyone, Adolf. So I want you guys to be careful with what you choose to believe in. I can't stop people from being whatever their heart desires, including if it's something to me that to me is hate filled and just kind of terrible. But if that's where you choose to go, then you're free to do so. I'm gonna look at things. I'm gonna examine the evidence, and I'm going to take into consideration the evidence that is from people who lived through these events. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna have to say right now on this matter. If you want to continue the conversation, please be respectful with it. I would like to hear everyone's views on it. Um, this is just where I'm at this point in time. Now I am open to new evidence. I'm open to new ways of viewing this, but as of now, I'm gonna move on and I'm gonna create more content that I think is a little bit more exciting and fun for me to create. This is taking a lot out of me, so because I've just been trying to think about how to attack this, and to be honest with you, I've probably just been rambling for the last almost 20 minutes, and so sorry if what I've been saying is not necessarily coherent. Anyways, my friends, that's it. Be on the lookout for some more content. And try to be more consistent. But anyways, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Like I said, keep the conversation going. If you want to add some information, please add some information. Be respectful of each other. But until I see y'all again, stay safe out there. And history matters. Arm yourself with knowledge. And stay epic, my friends. Peace.